Hey guys, it is time for my annual CC prep video. I make one of these every single year and you guys love them. And so I want to get this content out to you so that those of you who are already planning for this upcoming year can get going on it. So a little background in case you don't know me. My name is Caitlin. I am a mom of four. My oldest two do classical conversations. They are 8 and 6. We are going into our 4th year with CC. So this will actually be our first time to repeat a cycle. We started 3 years ago with cycle 2, and now we are going into cycle 2 again. You can actually go watch my prep video from that very first year. If you would like to see that, I'll link to that. I actually have a whole entire playlist here on my YouTube channel of CC specific videos, so I'll link to that so that you can check that out. But every year I do this video where I just share what I'm doing to organize for the upcoming school year, what worksheets and activities I have printed off or created. Not created, I don't create anything. I use what other people create because they're amazing, and laminate it, cut it, copy it, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And then I share that with you guys so that if you don't want to have to wade through all of the options out there, you can just kind of steal my list of ideas here. So this year we have the new CC Connected, which I'll be sharing more about how to find stuff on that and some things that it has that the old one didn't have, that kind of stuff. So my kids are quite a bit older, obviously, this time through cycle 2 than last time. So last time my oldest was only 5, and so all the things that we were doing were very young child appropriate. So he couldn't read yet, wasn't writing much. And so if you have a very, very young child, you may find that video to be more helpful. This year, I have an 8-year-old who is reading well and a 6-year-old who is still just in the very beginning stages. So I'll actually be kind of planning for 2 different levels, so if you have a little bit of an older child, I'll be sharing things that I found for older kids and things for younger kids. So it'll kind of be more varied in what we have. Okay, so if you have watched these videos of mine in the past, the first part of this video will mostly be like stuff you've already seen, very similar to what I've talked about in the past, because a lot of the people who watch these are brand new to CC and they need all the information. For those of you who are like your veteran moms and you're just here to see kind of like the new worksheets and activities and all that kind of stuff, that'll be towards the end of this video. I'll put a timestamp in the description, so if you want to skip, you can. Repeat stuff at the beginning and then new stuff at the end. And I've got quite a few new things to share with you guys. If you are brand new, like brand spanking new, you might want to go check out some of my other videos first. I have one about what is CC, how does it work, what does the day look like, that kind of stuff, because you need to understand like the framework of the program before you watch this video, because then you'll just be like, what are you doing? What is all this organization you're doing? And it may overwhelm you. So go check that out first. And then, like I said, you can see my prep video from the last time we did cycle 2, which was a little more simple because I add a little bit every year. And I've got a video that shows like what I bought that first year from CC. So I've got several videos that may interest you. So go check those out and then come back to this one when you kind of know what's going on and you're ready to dive in. All right, first thing we'll talk about is what physical items do you need to purchase in order to do classical conversations. So there's really only 2 physical things that you must purchase. That is your foundations guide, which this comes from the CC bookstore online. It covers all 3 cycles. So you buy it one time and then that's it as your child is in foundations each year. You just keep reusing the foundations guide. But this has all of the memory work in it that your child is going to be learning every single week at CC for all 3 cycles. It's also got like, the fine arts information, science information, other stuff too. But as far as like, your memory work, you gotta have this first. You also need a tin whistle. They sell some on the CC website. You don't have to use their specific one. I have gotten one from Amazon that I'll link below. which you have to have a tin whistle to take with you for part of the year to Community Day. And those are the only two things that you must have. And also, just a quick pause, everything that I talk about that can be linked will be linked in the description. So after you watch the video or as you're watching the video, you can pop down there and find links to all that stuff. So those are the two things you have to have. There are other things that are nice to have that you may or may not decide that you want to have. So I am pretty simple when it comes to what I use. So I don't have a whole lot. If you get on the website and you look around, it can be overwhelming. There are a lot of different suggestions, items that are linked there. And again, if you're pretty new, you may not even know what most of that stuff is. So there's two other things that I purchase from the website that I really enjoy having, my kids enjoy having, but again, not required. So just decide what works for you and your family. One of those things are the maps. So they sell these maps. They have both they call these like placemats because they are like a large placemat. And then they have these they call trivium tables. They are foldable ones. So our first year through, I bought the placemat version and my kids used them at home and that was fine and good. And then since that year, I have started switching to the trivium maps because they are better for going in a backpack to take with you if you take them with you like out and about. My kids have a notebook that I'm going to show you in a minute that these fit down into. So I've switched to these. So this year I have bought these for my two older kids, and then my 3-year-old, she also wants to do school, and so I figure she will enjoy using the placemats just at home while we do school. So that's up to you. Our community does like a map challenge every year where if the kids trace a certain number of maps, they get a reward of some kind. And my boys think that is great. They're highly motivated by that. They love maps in general. And so they love having these. Other thing is the timeline cards. So if you check out the, oops, let's write that down. If you check out the bookstore, there are 4 sets of the timeline cards. The 4 sets of the cards make the whole entire timeline. I don't know why they sell them in separate packs. I wish they would just sell them as one group to make it less confusing. But you need all 4 packs to cover the whole entire timeline. But that's done, like you redo the timeline every single year. So you only have to buy the 4 packs of timeline cards one time, and then you have all the timeline cards, and that covers all, like, you would reuse them every single year. So it's not like 1 pack per cycle, right? So they're a bit of a investment. I want to say it's around $100 once you buy all 4 packs of cards, somewhere in there. So it is a little pricey. And so if your budget is tight, you don't have to get these. They are absolutely not required. But they just, each piece of the timeline song, there's a card that goes with it. There's information on the back. They're, nice, pretty quality cards. People like to display them in their houses. But it's up to you. My kids like them. We hang them up on the wall, show and tell all about that in a minute. Up until last year, none of my kids could read. And so, I could have read them out loud to them, but they didn't often go get the cards and do anything with them. Now that they're getting older, especially with my oldest, I'm going to have him start reading these more independently and doing stuff with them. But really for these last 3 years that we've done CC, the timeline cards have been kind of leave them or love them. What's the word? I don't know. I could have done without them and it would have been fine. But they were fine to have. So different people, some people really love them. Some people we never use them, different opinions, but that is something that I do. I'm glad that we bought that from the CC website. But other than that, that's it. I've never purchased any of the other materials that they sell, and I've been totally happy with what we have. So before we move on, let me talk about some of the storage or organization of these things. Okay, so these tabs that you probably saw when I held this up a minute ago, these are tabs for each of the cycles. So my first year I bought these tabs, pink, purple, and teal, and I use them to tab different things in each cycle of the foundations guide. I'll link to a separate video, one of these prep videos from a couple years ago, where I showed exactly what I tabbed. I turned the camera around and showed it in case you want to do that, but honestly, this was not necessary. It's just like, when I first got this, I didn't know what anything was in the foundations guide. I thought, oh, I've got to like put all these tabs on everything so I can quickly find it for reference. And honestly, no, this was a bit overkill. Doing it again, I would probably just do one tab for cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. So just 3 tabs to designate the cycles, and then maybe put a bookmark or a sticky note or something in that current week of memory work, so it'd be easy to flip to that. But it's not hard to find the things that you're looking for in there, and this was not necessary. If you want to do it, if you like organization and you love pretty things and whatever, I get it, go ahead. But if you're just like, that's a lot, you're right, it is a lot. I didn't need to do it. The other thing is the timeline cards. My box is always very popular when I make this video. So different ways people like to store their timeline cards. Some people store them in page protectors in these little small notebooks. The CC bookstore has notebooks that you can purchase, and I've seen people buy them other places like office supply stores and Target and that kind of stuff. So that's one option. Some people just store them all together in a basket and don't divide them. Some people put like hole punches in them and store them on a ring. There's several different ways people do them. I have this box and it has these dividers. The dividers I purchased from Amazon, and there's 31 of them. So what I do is behind tab number 1 are all of the cards for week number 1. So there's 7 cards. And then behind tab number 2 is the set of cards for week number 2. And that makes it really easy for me to grab them out for that particular week because they're already organized by week. As my kids get older and are maybe wanting to shuffle through them themselves, I don't know that we will continue with the box. We may just dump them all in a basket or something. But for right now, this works fine. Now the box itself, I got this at Hobby Lobby years ago, and they do not sell it anymore. Last year's video, which I'll link to, I showed a bunch of different options that would fit. I showed 2 boxes from IKEA, a couple of different like Sterilite containers, I don't remember what else. So if you want to see a variety, I'll link to that so that you can go through and see what all. But basically, these cards are 5 by 8. So if you can find something that fits a bunch of 5 by 8 cards, you'll be good to go. I will link to one particular one on Amazon that I know fits the cards. I wish I could find some better options online because I know people would like direct links, but it's really hard to find them online. So other than that one file box from Amazon that I'll link, you may just have to go poking around at your local Target or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, that kind of stuff. So that's how we store our cards, and this has worked well for us up to this point. All right, the next category I want to talk about are digital resources that you may want to have. So CC has several different options of things that may be useful to you. One is that they have an app. There's a different app for each cycle. You can purchase them through the App Store of whichever type of device you use. They are $10. They used to be, I want to say like $15 or $16, and they have been reduced in price. So that is nice. The apps are fine. They, it's, like that technology is not amazing or anything, but it is an easy way to find the history songs, some cycles. The Latin memory work has songs. It has all the memory work on it. Okay. So all the memory work is going to be on the app. Some of it is just spoken memory work, and some of it actually has songs that go with it. So I mostly use it for the history and for the Latin and for the math, because those all have songs that go with them for at least part of them. And then the president's song is on there, which is nice. So I do like the app. CC also has CDs with songs and or digital. You can buy the digital versions of those, and it's the same concept of what's on the app. It's just organized a little bit different. I do not own the CDs. We do not have a CD player. My van does not have a CD player, so I don't have the CDs. I bought the digital So there's 3 discs, okay? One of them has the memory work by week. So it had week 1 and it will run through all the memory work. And then week 2, run through all the memory work. There's another one that has the memory work by subject. So it would do science and start with week 1 all the way to week 24. So it's the same information, just organized different on the 2 discs. And then the third one has other random songs, like the timeline song, the president's song, there's several, so the instrument songs and stuff like that. So if you buy the CD set, I believe all 3 of those come with it. If you just purchase on iTunes, the App Store, you've got your albums, you've got some songs that you can purchase individually. So there's cycle 2, let's see here, the memory work by subject. You've got cycle 2 memory work by week, and then let's see here, cycle 2 kind of the extra stuff, and the timeline song right here is the only one that you cannot purchase individually. You can't tell because I've already purchased this, but if you look at one of the other cycles, because it's basically the same thing here, you can purchase any of them individually except the full 13-minute timeline song. So if you want this song, you have to buy the whole album, which is only like $7. It just is annoying to me that you cannot purchase this song by itself. This is the full timeline song. This is the timeline broken up into different chunks. I like the whole thing, the 13-minute one. You can't purchase this individually. It's not included in the app that you pay for, and I don't like that. I wish it was just rolled into the app, or you could purchase just the song, because a lot of this other stuff I did not want, but anyway, it is what it is, so that's how you can get that. Also, when you created your account for this year, paid your tuition, you know, I hope, that you now have access to CC Connected. So in the past, CC Connected was an additional cost that you could pay $6 a month for however many months you wanted to use it. If you're part of a community, and if you weren't part of a community, you had to pay more. But it was a separate subscription service. Now it is rolled into our tuition, and so everyone who is enrolled in a community will have access to CC Connected. So that is exciting. But they also, within that, there is this section called the Learning Center, and it has all the memory work on there also. So if again, if your budget is tight, you have access to CC Connected because you've paid your tuition. You can just use the memory work through there without buying the app or the CDs or the digital downloads. Now, it's not nearly as user-friendly. You have to scroll through and find the weeks. So personally, I would prefer one of the other options just for ease of use, but they are on the website, so you can just do it that way. So that's an option as well as far as your memory work goes. If you, travel a lot, are on the road a lot, you may prefer to have the CDs or the digital versions on your phone that you plug into your car, so you can just listen to memory work on the go. Kind of depends on what works best for you. We do our memory work mostly at home in our morning time. We don't really call it that, but at the beginning of our school day when we sit down to do school. And so pulling everything up on the app is super easy, and we just listen to the ones that we want to listen to. And then we also listen to certain ones on YouTube, so I just pull them both up on my phone, and that's that. So it just kind of depends on what works best for your family. But those are some different digital resources that you may or may not want, or that you already have access to, you may not have realized. Oh, also on the Learning Center, the timeline song, the full timeline song is on there with the hand motions, which is really nice. So, because none of the other, and again, that's something that I do wish they would put on the app, the full timeline song and then the hand motions. So it was all one handy dandy app. But anyway, so if you are looking for the hand motions, they are there in the Learning Center. And I didn't know about that until recently. Maybe it wasn't even on the old one, I don't know. But I found that when I was kind of prepping for this video to share resources with you. All right, so now that we've kind of covered the things that CC offers as far as physical items, digital items. Now let's dive into CC Connected a little bit and worksheets and other activities and that kind of stuff. Before I do that, I want to take just a pause here and let you know you do not have to do any of this stuff. None of the stuff that I'm about to share. Some of the stuff that I just went over, you don't have to do all this stuff. And I don't want you to feel like you're behind. If you don't, your child's gonna be behind. Please remember, we've already been through this cycle before. So we are adding in more. I've heard people refer to it as like easy plus one, I think is how they phrase it. But it's like basically take what you're doing that is good and easy and then add something. And then when that gets good and easy, then add something else. And so this is kind of where we are. We are at our add something else journey. So we've done the basics the first year and first 3 years really. And now we're starting to push a little bit more. My oldest is interested in trying for Memory Master this year. He's never done that before. So I'm going to be doing some things that will help him to achieve that goal if he decides to go forward with that. So don't feel like you have to do all this stuff, okay? I don't want it to overwhelm you. You can do more, you can do less, but keep it what works for your family, keep it simple for your child. And I'm just sharing stuff from my family, and I don't want you to compare your own journey to ours or anything like that. So this is just your permission to do nothing, not do nothing, but not do all this stuff that I'm about to share, and your kids will be fine. You're going to absolutely do this without doing any worksheets. So if your kid doesn't like worksheets, or you don't like worksheets and you don't need them for something else, you don't have to do any of that. Anyway, okay. So now that I've kind of preached at you a little bit, we can move on. I just really want to make sure that, because I know most of the watchers of this video are brand new parents, and I know how overwhelming it can be. And I just want you to to know that it's okay and you don't have to do all the things. All right, so I'm gonna share everything that I'm about to share for this next portion is all stuff you can find on CC Connected. If you're not familiar with CC Connected, it's what I was talking about a minute ago. That is now, it used to be a subscription service or subscription-based thing. Now it's rolled into your tuition, so you have access to it if you are enrolled in a community. And there's the Learning Center that I shared about that has the memory work. And there's also a file sharing section, kind of like a forum, where parents who create different activities, songs, worksheets, they can share those with other CC parents. So the majority of the stuff that I'm about to show you comes from there. Now, something I'm really excited about is that in the past, we have not been able to link directly to things in the old CC Connected. The old CC Connected was terrible. The content was good, but the infrastructure of the website was awful. This one is better. It's still not the best I've ever seen, but it's much better. But what I love is that it's linkable. And so every single thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to be able to give you a direct link to it in the description of this video. So if that makes you happy, leave me a little heart, leave a comment, because I know every year people would message me or comment and be like, I can't find XYZ that you talked about. And I was like, I can't help you because I couldn't link to it. And so I could give the username and maybe some search terms to try to help people, but I couldn't send them directly to it. So now I can. So yay. Okay. Anyway, so the memory work. There are several different things that a lot of parents like to print off and use from CC Connected to just help with them doing the memory work at home with their kids. So let's look at a couple of those here. All right, the first one are these things called fridge facts. Fridge as in the word refrigerator. They are 8.5 by 11 pages. There's one for each week. And so you can see that this is the timeline at the top. There's math, there's geography, all the different memory work sections are on here. They're in color, there's some pictures. These are really nice. So I print them off just on my printer at home, and I laminate them and I hole punch them and put these little rings in them. You could also spiral bind them. I've seen people just put them in page protectors, so it's up to you. But that's what I do with ours so that my kids can flip through and see them. Real quick before we move on, you want to have a good printer. if you're going to print this stuff at home. And I recommend a laminator. So I will link in the description the printer that we have and the laminator that I have and love. You can also print through like Staples and maybe Office Max or Office Depot. I know Staples, that CC has like an account there and a discount and that kind of stuff. I've never used it. I print everything at home, so I can't really guide you much on that. So maybe talk to some of the other people in your community about that, but I just print at home. And like I said, I'll link the printer that we have and the laminator that I have down below so you can check those out. But anyway, so fridge facts, there's one option. Then there are flip books, which these are smaller. So the flip books have the same information, the memory work and the maps. There's just not as many pictures. It's mostly just words. And so there's several different flip book options on CC Connected, like different people who have made these. So I'll link to the ones that I printed off and another one that's very popular as well. So the ones I use, there's some that you print them at home and cut them and you put them in your photo album. And then there's some that are JPEG files. And so like that's pictures basically. And so I get mine printed off through Amazon. I just order pictures through Amazon. You can also order them through CVS or Walgreens or Walmart or wherever you like to order pictures from. But I've just used Amazon Photos. You just Google Amazon Photos. It'll come right up and you can upload your pictures. And the last time I printed, I want to say it cost like $8. Probably cost more this year. I don't know. I didn't have to do any this year because I already had the one I made from last time I did cycle 2. But anyway, so you put them in these albums and then you've got your memory work in a small portable little flip book fashion. These albums are from Dollar Tree, and that is important. Dollar Trees are important because most places do not have enough pages to get all 24 weeks in there. So if you buy some from like Walmart, it's not going to be the right size. Dollar Trees are perfect and they're only $1, so that's really nice. But if you don't have a Dollar Tree near you or you don't feel like getting out to look, there's also some on Amazon that are sold by an actual CC parent that are also perfect. And so I'll link those in the description so that you can grab those if you don't have access to the Dollar Tree ones. But anyway, so you buy the album and then you print off each of the week's memory work, and then you have this flip book to take with you. Then alternatively, and this is the first year I've done this, you can also, there's also some people who've made flip books that are by subject. So this one right here is by week. So there's week 1 and then week 2, the geography at the top, and then all the rest of the memory work below. This year, and I've never done this before, but this year I also printed off one that is by subject. So timeline, it's got all the timeline stuff, like history, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on. I typically prefer the ones that are by week because we're usually just reviewing that week's memory work and we don't need it by subject. However, like I said, my oldest is interested in doing Memory Master, and so I thought this might be a better, not a better, but just a different way for me to quiz him and to help him if we're looking at it by subject versus always by week. So I found this file on CC Connected, which of course I will link, and I just printed it off and cut them out. It was not JPEGs, it was just on paper. So, and then I slipped it in another one of these little Dollar Tree photo albums that I had. So two different flip book options, the weekly and the by subject. And then also is something that people refer to as the trifold board or something like that. And that is, if you've watched my videos in the past, you have seen where I used to do my videos, they were on the wall behind me. So we have moved from that house and I don't actually have my school area set up. But basically what it was, and then we've got my memory work wall here. So at the top, I put the week's timeline cards, the clips, the command hook clips are linked in the description, and the little hooks that I use for down here are linked in the description. These files are all from the same person on CC Connected. I'll put that in the description, but I just print those off and put them in page protectors. So they are in these shiny page protectors. I put 1 week and then another week on the back. So I have week 1, flip it around, week 2, and then after week 2, I take it down and put up weeks 3, 4, 5, 6. In a notebook like this. So I have Bible, I have geography, history, science, and so each week I just pull out the next weeks if I need to, and then put one back, and they're all ready to go. And then I have each cycles stored in a binder so that they're ready for when we go through the cycle again. That is also a very popular way for people to display their memory work in their house, is they like to put those up, and I will link to those. Those have always been the hardest for people to find in the old CC Connected. I don't know why. They were a bunch of different files, and CC Connected, like I said, the website was terrible, and so it's really hard. Now I can directly link you to each of them, including the labels, all that stuff. So check the description if you're looking for that. So of those 3, you don't necessarily have to do all 3. I did them all my first year because I wasn't sure what I wanted to use. And as we've done this every year, it has changed what we've used, because as far as which ones we like the best, the fridge facts are definitely what we use the most. So the very first year we used the display on the wall with the trifold board thing. That's what we pretty much used exclusively. We put them up on the wall. My kids were not reading yet, and so they all have pictures or visuals. Most of them have pictures or visuals with them, and so they liked those. We did school in our dining rooms. They were hanging up right there in the dining room, and we did not use either of these very much the first year. But then the second year, we quit doing most of we kind of did half and half, and we started doing our memory work in the living room on the couch. And so that big wall display that I had up in the dining room was not, we didn't look at it very much. And we did not eat in that dining room. So it's not like we were sitting there and looking at it at every meal as extra remembering or anything like that. So the trifold, the wall situation that I had was actually not really used very much anymore. And so I switched to using this as we sat there on the couch together and going through our memory work. And then last year we did all of our school in the living room. And then halfway through the year we moved. And so when we moved to the new house, we didn't have anything set up. So last year, again, we just mostly did this. Sometimes my oldest would grab this, but it's just not of these 2, my kids prefer this. This is more of like a keep it in the car to review on the go, put it in a backpack. When we travel, I do take this with us just because it's the smallest option, but we mostly just use the fridge facts. My kids love them. They frequently go get them and flip through and reference them. They even like to go get cycles we're not even in right now and look at them. And I'm not sure if it's just because they're so colorful or what, but the kids just really enjoy those. So if I were going to do it again, this is what I would make, is the set of the fridge facts. And so at this new house, like I said, we've not set up our school area. That is on my to-do list for next week or the next. And so I'm not even sure if we're gonna set up our trifold board display. I talked to the boys about it the other day, and they were both kind of like they didn't really care if we did or not. And so stay tuned. I'll probably do a video once I get that all set up, but I may just hang this up on the wall and just have this one sheet of paper for them to reference instead of hanging all of them. I don't know. And then one other thing, this is new, so if you have been watching all of my videos in the past, this will be new. And that is, I found these they're like called tutor planner sheets or something, but this is for myself. And now of course I cannot, okay. They look like this, and it has all the memory work for the week. So timeline, math, history, geography, and so forth right here on this side. So it's all at a glance on one page. And then there are these boxes here where theoretically, if you were a tutor, you could fill in kind of notes to yourself about what you want to use to teach that in class. I'm not a tutor. I am just a parent that attends with my kids at this point. But I put them in, I printed those off and I put them in just this little folder here to take with me to Community Day. I do not like to carry this to Community Day. One, I don't want it to get all beat up. Two, space is limited. I have lots of small children. I've got like babies that I'm having to carry, and you know, 3-year-old who often is, you know, trying to pull on me and hold my hand. And so I try to carry the smallest amount of stuff possible. And so I want to leave this at home. And so this will go with me to Community Day. And then as we learn the new memory work, I can jot notes down, maybe the tune of the song that we used, or, you know, whatever things that their tutors use in class that I want to remember when we get home. And then I'll use it at home because, you know, maybe I found a song on YouTube that I want to use and put that in there so that I have that as a reference, because in the week we're doing it, usually I can remember, but then when we go back to review, I'm like, wait, what was the tune of the song to blah, 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 whatever. And so this is going to be notes mostly for myself. The very first page in this little notebook is, it's a memory master practice. This is basically just the first page from the foundations guide that lists the overview of the whole entire year. And so I printed that off and put that in the front so I can just really quickly glance and see what we're doing each week. And then behind it, I have each week's memory work that I can just jot notes down for myself. So this is kind of my own little notebook that I made there. So there's a bunch of different memory work type items to check out. All right, so let's now move on to worksheets. Okay, worksheets. If you have seen my other videos, you have seen this box before, but just for our newbies, this is just a file box from Target or somewhere. And I have the hanging folders with not manila envelopes, whatever these little file folders are called in there. And they are labeled week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on up to week 24. So what I do is at the beginning of the year, I print off the worksheets that I want to print off from CC Connected or other places. I've got some other ones too that I'll share with you. And then I go ahead and file them by week. And so when that week comes along, when it's week 1, I'll just pull out the worksheets from week 1. They're already together. I've already punched holes in them. I didn't do that last year. I didn't think about punching holes before I put them in here. And so every week I had to pull the hole puncher out, which I know sounds ridiculous, but it irritated me every single week that I had to get the hole puncher out. So this year I punched everything before I even put it in here. But I just take a day and sit down and print a gajillion things off. Like I mentioned before, we use a printer at home, print them off, and then spread them all out and sort them. And, you know, it takes me a while, watch TV or something while I do it, and put them in here. But like future me is so happy that I do this every year, because every single week I don't have to go chasing down stuff. It's already filed away in here. So everything is already organized by week. Then let me show you what I do with it. So each week, my kids have these notebooks. They're just like 1-inch 3-ring binders. And in the notebooks, it's got several things, but what is specific to CC is I have tabs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So what I do with these worksheets is at the beginning of the week, which really is actually Thursday night, because our community day is on Thursday. So our CC week starts really like the stuff we do at home starts on Friday. But anyway, the beginning of that, I take my packet of papers out of here and I divide it up. So if it's Thursday night, we've learned the new material that day at CC, I'll take those and I'll divide them up and put a few for Friday, a few for Monday, a few for Tuesday, a few for Wednesday. Or if, say, we're gonna be taking a field trip on Monday, then I'll divide them up for Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Basically, I should divide them between the days that we're gonna be at home doing schoolwork. And these are kind of my kids' like independent work folders. So while I'm doing math or language arts with one of my kids, the other one can be working in his folder on worksheets. And then we reverse. And so while I'm doing math or language arts with the other child, first kid does the CC worksheets in here. But that, like, they know to go to the Monday tab and to do those worksheets, and it just divides it up already for them. So I have a separate video where I do like a full walkthrough of this notebook, and you can check that out if you're interested. But that has just really been helpful to just already have it pre-done and in there, and I just switch them out at the beginning of the week. And then at the end of the week, I take all of the completed ones out of their work notebook and I put them right back in here. So week 1 is full, right? They're all full right now. Week 1 is full. At the beginning of week 1, I'll take them out, put them in the notebook, and then they do them. And then at the end of week 1, I put them right back in here and they stay there till the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, I go through and I clean this out and I pull everybody's worksheets out of here and put them filed away in like their, we don't really do portfolios, but in the storage box that I keep all their stuff in. So it's just really easy to keep it in here. Okay, so now that you've seen that, now let's look at the actual worksheets. All right, so first of all, there's something called the sandbox in the Learning Center. So when you go into CC Connected, on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see, I think there's like 4 different sections, and one of them is called the Learning Center. If you click there, that's what I was talking about earlier, where all of the Memory Works songs, the timeline song, all that kind of stuff is linked under each week. There's also something called the sandbox. As of a couple days ago, they only had the first 6 weeks up. I'm sure that they were adding. Basically what the sandbox is a curated amount of worksheets. People at CC Corporate have gone through CC Connected and picked what they determined to be like the best worksheets or activities that have been submitted by parents, and they put them all into one document along with like activity ideas, picture book recommendations. Like the theory behind it is that it's like kind of a whole packet of stuff for you to do at home for each week, and you don't have to go digging for stuff yourself. So if you are just like not interested in printing a whole bunch of random stuff off, you could just, and some people do this, they just print off the sandbox for the week for each child, and that's it. That's what they do at home. They don't do any extra stuff. Personally, I don't really love the sandbox. There's just a lot of stuff in there that I'm not gonna do. And so I go through it, and sometimes I'll see a couple of pages I want to print off to add to my box here. But in general, it's not my favorite. And some of the things that I've printed actually are included in the sandbox. I just used the document that was just that item all 24 weeks at a time, because that's easier for my brain to process and print. So anyway, so check out, before you do anything else, go to the Learning Center, check out the sandbox, scroll through and just see, like, does this interest me? Is this not my thing? And maybe all you'll need to do is print off the sandbox and you'll be good to go. Personally, I spend the time combing through all of CC Connected, finding the things that I like, and then sharing those with you to help you guys out for the worksheets. So I'm not gonna show you every single worksheet, but because everything I've printed is linked below, but I'll show you just kind of an overview. So this is the little packet for week 1 for my 6-year-old. So there is one history coloring sheet that came from a set that was all 24 weeks, so I'll link. There's a different history coloring sheet that is Sherry Ellis. She has amazing worksheets for all the subjects, and she has them based on age. So like she'll have history, and then she'll have some for your youngest ones, some for the like kind of middle age, and some for the older ones. Then we've got these maps. The username is Sandra Homemaker, linked below. I like these maps a lot. The kids color in next to the name, and then they go find it on the map and color it. So we've done those every single year, but I'm just gonna look through my 8-year-olds real quick and see what else I added in for him. He obviously can do more. So here's an example, the Sherry Ellis ones I was talking about. My youngest one, he's got this one, which is just a coloring sheet. And then my older one, he has this one, which is a crossword puzzle. So created by the same person. Some of these are in the sandbox and some of them are not. Let's see here. Found this history research page, and it says read timeline cards and books related to this week's history topic, and then it kind of prompts them to write who are the people and groups mentioned, how are they related to each other, what are some details or facts about them, when did this happen, what was the time period called, where would you find this, why, like what might have caused the event, draw a picture about it. So this is just a lot more thorough of a dive into either the timeline cards or some other book that you might read about the history. So this may still be above my oldest child's head. Like he could do it, but that's a lot of writing for him. So I printed them off, and we'll see if that's something that works for us, but I liked the concept of it, so we're gonna give it a try. Something else that I found that I liked were these presentation plans. So it says presentation plan for week number, and you put the number for the week. What am I presenting about? What's my topic? What do I want to say about the topic? What visual aid will I use? And then some reminders about like how to present, eye contact, clear voice, that kind of stuff. So maybe I'm the only one. Please tell me I'm not. But we have been bad in the past about like it's Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday night, and I'm like, what are you guys going to do for presentation? Or sometimes it's even Thursday morning. Like, what's your presentation going to be? And we're like scrambling at the last minute. And so like, that's on me. Like I know as the mom of such young children, I need to do better. So when I saw this, I really liked it. And so I printed it off, one per week for each kid. And that's going in their weekly binder. So on probably Tuesday or Wednesday, this will remind them, oh, I need to pick out a presentation. So they go pick it out, and then also work on starting to kind of make an outline for their presentation. I also found this Cycle 2 presentation topic suggestion document that I'm going to be using to try to encourage my kids to talk about something other than Legos every single week. And I found this presentation bingo. So I printed off a presentation bingo for each of my kids, and I plan to put those in their notebooks. And at the beginning of the year, tell them, for every bingo that they complete, and give them some kind of reward. I don't know. They're highly motivated by rewards. And so I feel like they will want to check these off. But this just gives them a variety for their presentation. So it, encourages them to talk about a current event, a movie review, tell a joke, just different things for their presentation every single week. So again, if this is your first year, if this is your child's first year, you may not need to do that. If your child is 4, let them present about their baby doll or their Legos every week. That's fine. But I'm wanting to push my kids a little bit more because they are old enough and they're ready. And so I'm doing that to just kind of encourage them to do some different things for their presentations. So those are all files from CC Connected that I will be linking. Let's see here. If you don't have CC Connected, maybe you're doing CC without a community and you stumbled upon this video and you want to do some of these activities, but you don't have access to CC Connected, because I don't know this for sure, but based on the wording, I don't think you can access CC Connected unless you have paid tuition to CC. I know there are some parents who just buy the guide and do this all at home. And for those parents, or even just people who want to supplement what they found on CC Connected, I want to share some other resources for you. Okay, one of them is it's on Etsy, and it's called We Draw to Learn. We did this last year and really enjoyed it. And so it's just a file of, you download it and you print it off that a mom has created, but it shows kids step by step how to draw something related to the science topic for each week. So the first week of cycle 2 is Days of Creation. And so this is what the final product will look like. I'll have these printed off separate, but it shows how to draw it like step by step. And so your child can copy that and learn how to draw. And then there's also the completed one. I always print this off for my kids to color. So they draw on a blank piece of paper, their version of it, and then they color her final version of it. And I really enjoyed us doing this last year. I was very impressed with how well my kids did the drawings, because the step-by-step instructions are so clear. And it pulls in some art to go along with the science. So they're, working on the science memory work, but they're also getting some art. So I really loved them last year and bought it again this year. And so it's from Etsy. I'll link it below. She has a coupon code right now that I think ends July 31st. So I'll put that below. If you happen to be watching this before the coupon code has expired, you can get a couple dollars off. But if your child is artsy, and they like to draw, or even if they don't and you want to encourage that, this is a great supplement to go with your CC stuff. It is, I don't know, maybe $12, $15. It's not super expensive. So that's something that we enjoyed. There are also some really great coloring pages on Etsy that I will link. I have not personally purchased them. My kids aren't like real big on coloring, and these particular pages are much more intricate, like maybe more geared towards older kids. They are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I know people that use them and their kids love them. So I'm going to link those in case that's something that your child would enjoy. And then there's one other thing on Etsy, which is a different parent who makes these like craft type things that go along. So there, she has a download that's history, and she has a download that is science. And so you could do one or both. And so like for the history one, there is a very easy, simple craft to go along with every single week's history. And then for the science one, a very simple craft or kind of an experiment, but not like a pull out a bunch of stuff experiment. So if you are trying to find activities, so these two that I'm talking about are not worksheets, so it has nothing to do with this. But if you're trying to come up with some activities to supplement and you don't want to go combing through the internet and spending a lot of time planning and just want it done for you, this mom has already done that for you. So you can just purchase either of them. Again, they're like in the $14, $15 range, not very expensive. And then boom, it's done for you. So I'll link to all that so you can check it out and see if that's something for your own family. Another thing is there is a place called Sunshine and Oranges, and she has worksheets. So very similar to what you can find on CC Connected. I personally don't feel like you need both. So if you already have access to CC Connected, it would kind of be like double dipping, like they're very similar. But if you don't have access to CC Connected, these are really great options. They are not for little ones, like they require a lot of writing. They're not coloring pages or anything like that. So if your child cannot read and write yet, Sunshine and Oranges stuff is not for you. If your child is older, they are great. I'll link to that below. She used to have like a subscription service where you could kind of just get on there and download whatever you wanted. That is no longer an option. So you'd have to go and you have to pick what specific subjects you want to pay for. Right now through August 1st, it's a sale. She's got a sale like a certain percentage off. I want to say it's 50%, but I don't know if that's exactly right. So if you're watching this before August 1st, go check that out, because if you want to purchase, now is a good time. So in the past, doing the subscription service and printing them out that way was the cheaper option. But now the way it's set up, it's actually cheaper to buy the pre-made version, which is also easier. So you can get on Amazon and you can buy all of the worksheets for the whole entire year already bound in a little booklet, well, a big booklet actually, it's a lot of pages. And so that is a really great option if you don't want to mess with printing and sorting and, you know, all that stuff at home. If you just want to have a book full of worksheets for your kids to work on, order them from Amazon. So I'll link to both the downloads and the workbooks so you can look and see if either of those are something that your family would like to do. And then the other thing that is not on CC Connected that I wanted to share is there is a blogger, the blog is called 1/2 Acre Woods, and she has a ton of CC stuff on there, a lot of free stuff, also some paid stuff. And this year I got this memory work review schedule. Like I said, my oldest is interested in trying to go for Memory Master. So in the past, we've been very chill with our memory work. We do it every day during that week, but we don't do like a whole lot of review and repetition, because I knew we were going to go through the cycles multiple times and there was no need to just hammer it on them the first time around. But since he really wants to try to do Memory Master this year, I wanted more of a plan for reviewing. And so what she has done here is for each week, each day of the week, it tells you it's like a looping schedule of what to review. So for example, week 20, she has you reviewing week 20, of course, but also on one day you review week 19, 17, and week 1. And on another day you review week 18, 14, and 13. So she has like done the work and spread it out all nicely. And I was like, this is great. So this one page is within a download that has a bunch of book matchups that she's done. So you can't buy just the review schedule by itself, but it's bundled with, you can either bundle it with a planner that she has, or it's in a bundle with like a matchup for Story of the World, maybe Mister of History, a couple of different things. I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted this review schedule, but it was only $6 for the download. And I was like, to save me the time of trying to figure out how to make sure we're hitting all the memory work throughout the year, I found it to be perfectly worth it. And then, you know, the book matchup was just like an added bonus on top. I just wanted the review schedule. So anyway, I'll link to that below. You can check that out, especially if your child is older and you're wanting to make sure you review throughout the year and not just work on that week like I've done in the past. So that's another thing that I really liked. All right, that's it for worksheets. Now we're going to talk about some non-worksheet activities that I have found and made. Some are from CC Connected, some are not. The first is there's this history matchup, and it just is matching the date with the like history, not the whole sentence, it's not written out, but just like the time period. I felt like this is good. I feel like the dates are easy to get mixed up. So I printed this off of CC Connected and slipped it down in this little clear pocket. Like Target has these in their dollar spot at the beginning of the school year. You can get them, Dollar Tree has them as well. But anyway, so my kids can use dry erase marker to match up the dates with the history sentence. So I got that. This was the Latin conjugations for this cycle. And so I printed this off and laminated it and put Velcro dots. So like here's the first weeks, and you know, we can take those off, and then I can have my kids Velcro them back on to practice that. And so I found that on CC Connected. And then I also printed off a different one. So it's like same idea, just different files, but this one has the Velcro. This one is laminated so that my older child who is writing well can write with a dry erase marker and practice putting his conjugations on there. So did both of those. And then these are geography flashcards. So it is files on CC Connected. There's 4 of them per page. So you have to print them off. I printed them, I laminated them, and then cut them. And so it's a flashcard that just has one item from so this is from week 9. There's Puerto Rico. And so like this is only a portion of them. We've not finished. I ran out of lamination sheets and we had to order some more from Amazon. So I didn't finish laminating and cutting, but there's a lot of them because it goes over each individual item from the memory work instead of, most of the things just have like all 5 or 6 listed at once. This has each one individually. And so it'll be good to, show my kids. And then I've got the answers written on the back so that we can practice learning that a little bit more. Like I said, my kids love the maps and they love tracing the maps, and this just kind of goes a little bit deeper into learning those rivers and mountains and continents, all that stuff a little bit better. So I'm excited about those. And then this is not from CC Connected, but there is a blogger who is super creative, and she apparently does CC as well, has made all of these really cute science activities that go along with each cycle. And so there's one for every week. So what are some names of US space missions? And so I printed them, laminated them, and then they have like little Velcro dots. And so it's just a fun little activity. There's one for each week for the kids. There's units to measure electricity. How does heat flow? And so that's just fun, especially for my younger ones who maybe, want to be a little bit more hands-on. So I printed those off and made those. And then I also have this US presidents sequencing file folder game. This is not at all CC related, but that we learn the presidents in week 24 of all cycles. And I just found this on a website that does like preschool preschool worksheets and activities, and I thought it was really cute. So I just printed them off, laminated, cut them, and then it's got Velcro. I need to write the numbers, but anyway, they can just put the presidents in order there. They're just like these cute cartoon faces. There are some files on CC Connected that have the presidents' faces that you could print off and laminate and cut and do the same thing. I just thought these little cartoonish faces were cute. All right, and then there's a few other things that I can't really show you. They are not physical items, but there are several bloggers that I reference throughout the year who have like activities listed by week. So they'll have like cycle 2, week 1, and they'll have lots of links to fun activities that go along with that cycle. So I will link to those in the description so you can check those out. There are a couple of people who have book lists for each cycle, so I'll link to those. That way you can, go and find picture books at your library that go along with them. There is somebody who has made YouTube playlists that have supplemental videos that go along with the cycles. So I used these same videos last time we did cycle 2, and it was really nice because, when I was fixing dinner or during their quiet time, I could turn those on and it would just play through the playlist, and it would have just a couple of videos that went along with that week's history topic or geography or whatever. And that was really nice to have that already done. Now, this is not like the videos that necessarily have the memory work in them, but just like kind of supplements to go along with it. So I'll link to those. And then finally, there's lots of people on YouTube who do videos related to the memory work. But one of my favorites is CC Happy Mom. She is amazing for geography and for teaching songs that help the kids learn the geography. And last year I sat down and made playlists of all of her videos specific for each cycle because they were like kind of out of order and hard to find. And so I'm going to link to the cycle 2 playlist for you that I made so that you can have them in order if you choose to use her videos to help with geography, which I just really love them a lot. So anyway, I know that was a ton of information, and if you made it to the end of this video here, good work. I know it's a lot, but and they get longer every year because I add stuff every year, but I just really want to help you guys like prep for the year and like save you some time and make it really simple and make it really easy and not have to feel like you're trying to find all the things from all the places. And so I try to collect those for you and curate that for you here in the video. So anyway, hopefully that covered everything, answer all your questions. So now go forth, explore the links that I'm putting below, find what works for your family, run with it, and have a fantastic and amazing year this year. I will be posting other videos throughout the year that relate to CC or homeschooling in general, so make sure that you follow along so that you get those as well. I'll be doing like some book flip throughs and that kind of stuff. So anyway, stick around to check those out later, and yeah, have a great one, guys. Bye.